most of us test stuff by ourselves. You might want to think about doing it with more than one person. Because I think you'll all agree you came up with more as a group than you would have done individually. So that's a lesson to be learned just from that one thing. And we haven't even started looking at what the answers are yet. We're going to go through the 6 groups. I'm going to ask you to come up with stuff. You've got about 2 minutes each for each group to tell me what you come up with. I have a score sheet. You can score up to 100, and I do give bonus marks for things I haven't done. Please do, as we go around, if somebody else says something and you haven't put it down, don't repeat it just because another team said it. Right, we'll start back left corner. Would you like to go through your list of tests for this, please?
So we start with functional testing by doing tracking on required fields, data validation, duplicate entries or success or error message. And then next we go with usability testing for checking clear instruction or intuitive interface. And then also on security testing for like password strength or session management. And performance testing like stress.
No, if it's on your list, say it. Don't put stuff on your. Don't say stuff that's on there that's written on your list. So just read your list out.
Don't cheat, don't cheat.
Yeah, don't cheat. Please, don't cheat.
Please correct me lah.
Okay. That was all very quick.
Our scopes, first one is on the min and max characters. We ensure no funny characters, no nouns, and then also on the username is not something that's been taken off, and it's not. We don't care about case sensitive. That's all for the username. And then we go ahead on the test scope for email address. You should include all the alias and also the domain, the dot, and to check against the database whether the email is being registered. And if it registered before, if that's a negative testing, so it's rejected. If it's not registered, then we allow it, so that's a positive testing. So we try to cover our test scopes to cover both the negative and positive testing.
Very good building something that's functioning perfect, but as soon as you get more than one person using it, it crashes, or it's not secure, or the right customers can't use it. So we should be thinking about non-functional stuff, and the requirements and acceptance criteria can include non-functional stuff as well as the functional stuff. And the good thing is, if you're doing that, then you're talking about them right at the very start. So, think about those non-functional. These are just some of the ones you should be thinking about. So do you know the films to go through? Do you know this film? This is The Usual Suspects. It's very clever film. And if anybody watches the Oscars, you might recognise this. Testing the documentation. When we went through the registration, don't talk about documentation. That registration page will have various documents behind it. We didn't talk about any. But we should be thinking about those things. This is the Oscars where they got the name of the best film wrong. They called out La La Land as the best film, and it was actually Moonlight. So they hadn't tested the process for actually reading out the winners of the Oscars. You should think about everything. You should be thinking about every aspect of that story, from the functionality and the requirements, right the way through to production and how it is supported and maintained in production. Every aspect of that should be a part of your conversation. So, acceptance criteria. There are multiple different ways of doing acceptance criteria. Probably you're quite familiar with EDD, or TDD, or GDD, Google. But there's many ways of doing it, and it's good to know what they are. Different mindsets. So I work with people who are very visual and like pictures. I work with people who are very much into documentation. They want this sort of stuff. So you need to find out what works best for your team, and you need to kind of do the acceptance criteria in that format. We're going to have a look at example mapping in a minute, because that's what we need to be honest, rather than just the rules. Because that gives you a bit more information. The kick-off meeting should not be a silent meeting. We as testers should be asking lots of questions. I've never been in a requirements meeting where somebody has said what we want to do and I've not had questions about it. We talk about there's no such thing as a stupid question. There isn't. If you've got a question about something, don't wait until later, because other people might not know either, so you have to ask the questions there. You want to be vocal as a tester. You want to know, A, how the customer's going to use it, and also you want to know how you're going to test it. I like to think that apart from the person bringing the requirements in, the tester is the next most vocal person in that meeting. One of the other reasons for that is you, as a tester, probably use that application more than anybody else in that meeting. You've probably seen that working, all the different variations, all the bits that work well, all the bits that don't work well, all the bits that have been a bit iffy in the past. You have that information, you have more of that information than anybody else in that group. So you should be talking about it. You should be asking the questions there. I talked a bit about this yesterday, I think, in the panel. One of the issues you might have is you put something into production and something goes wrong. You turn it on and it goes wrong, and then you have to try and get it out of production again. Feature flags and toggles kind of prevent that from needing to happen. Basically what you do is all the new code you put behind a feature flag or a toggle, and then you choose when you turn it on or turn it off. So you can put the code into live, and it will not be used because it is hidden code in production. And then you just have a mechanism for turning it on or off. So you can put the code, release the code into production, and then it could be a week later before you actually turn that on. And then you can test it, see it. Well, first of all, you test the deployment, make sure the deployment's stable and it hasn't crashed, things haven't gone wrong. And once you're happy that the actual deployment is stable, the customer is still using it, then you can look to turning things on one at a time to see if they actually work in production. It does mean if they don't work, you just toggle it off again. You don't have to back out the code, you don't have to try and do a redeployment or hotfix. Those things don't need to happen if you're using toggles or feature flags. It's one of those things that once teams start doing it, they never stop. But if teams haven't started, then it's very hard to start. But they allow quicker deployments, safer deployments, lower risk deployments, and they lead to fewer bugs being raised by the customers, and fewer bugs being found in production. So if your company doesn't use it, I would start having a conversation about why we're not using it. Okay, we're all working agile-ish. How many teams have a definition of done? Good man. Okay, so definition of done is basically the list of things that you should be doing for every story. should be so obvious that you don't put them in acceptance criteria. So things like, have we got automation tests against this story? Have we thought about performance? Have we thought about security? Have we put in the feature flag? Totally. And the thing is, I can't give you a prescriptive list because every team, again, should be different. Every team should have their own definition of done. And it should be what is relevant and pertinent to you as a team. And it should be a living document. Harry Potter, this is Harry Potter. That's not Harry Potter, obviously, that's the book. Harry Potter is much taller than those glasses. So it should be a living document, it should change. Because your team changes, your teams get better at things. So it could be that your team has, in the past, missed things out, got things wrong, forgotten about things, and put them in the definition of done. Then after a few months, it becomes second nature, and then you can take it out, because you don't have to check it every time. But you should have that checklist for all the things you know you need to for every single story. And you should be looking at that as a team. Not that bug, obviously. Very low. Bugs. So we talked about requirements, we talked about kick-off meetings. Not many teams do that for bugs. I would say do that for bugs. You should have that meeting at the start before you actually let a developer loose trying to fix a bug or a defect in the system. Because that defect has an outcome. Fixing that has an outcome. Bob talked yesterday about the fact that if there's 30 lines of code in a fix, then maybe you just introduce 3 and go on. So you want to talk about what the right solution is. Is it possibly a bug that just fixes one area, or does it fix multiple areas? What are the things you think about? I started doing this in the team because a developer went away, they fixed the bug, which was basically, it was an input screen, and if you put the wrong input into one of the fields, you got an error message, but the error message was wrong. So I thought, fairly straightforward, what could go wrong? So he went away and he fixed it, and got the right error message, but what he did was, when you actually put the wrong input field in and press enter, it gave you a brand new screen with just the error message at the top. And no way back to the previous screen. So the fix was a lot worse than the original bug was. And in the way these things work, we didn't actually have time to fix the bug fix. So the bug fix that was awful went into production. So after that, we kicked off bugs, because that wasn't going to happen again. But it should be a quick meeting, it should be like 5 minutes. Right, this is the bug I'm going to try and fix. We talk through right. Yeah.
Let's say a young meeting, right? So every 2 weeks,
Okay.
Is that a conference line?
Yes, if you're doing Scrum. I don't talk much about the different variations of Agile. You've got Scrum, you've got Kanban, you've got Lean. I think for a new team, Scrum is perfect. For a more mature team, going to Lean is better because then you're just putting one story at a time and you're not worrying about having a 2-week backlog of work. And it doesn't mean you just kick off one item at a time. And that makes it easier. If you've got a lot of work to kick off, then you need to think about how long the meeting is. The worst thing you can do is do a kick-off meeting, run out of time, and just like spend 2 minutes on the last 2 stories because that's what the time you've got left. You need to be. The kick-off meeting is so important. You take as much time as you need. So it could be break it down and have it in like 1 meeting every week, or find a way so you actually have the meeting. Because that's the meeting that if you don't have it, is going to produce most of the errors later. So it's really important you have it, you get it right, you talk about those things, and you don't rush it.
So the bug also together
Bugs I would do separately. Yeah. Just when the person is going to pick it up, as opposed to at the start of the meeting.